Shabbat Shalom, brethren. Today I want to bring forth the word MIQRA. Now this word is very important. This word is at the heart of his moedims, appointed times, Sabbaton, Shabbat. This is very important, brethren. This word, Shabbat, Sabbaton, is a Kodesh MIQRA. So let's take a look at what MIQRA is and what it isn't and why it's so important. But first, let's look at one of the first places we see this, which is in his word. All right. So, brethren, we see Shiset Yamin Te'esa Mehacha Ubayom Ha-Shavei Shabbat Shabbaton Mikra Chodesh Ko Melecha Ta'asu Shabbat He Yahuwah V'choi Me Shovetekhem Peh. Or 6 days your work is to be done, but the seventh is the Shabbat, Shabbaton, a convocation set apart. No work shall be done. It is a Shabbat therein to Yahuwah, sorry about those words, in all your assemblies. Now, this word does not mean your houses, assemblies. How do we know? Well, let's take a look. As we see Moshav, as we see from 34:27 is assembly. It says dwell in, inhabit, and seats, situations, sojournings. But as you go dig deeper into that word, you will find that it does not mean your house. And we know which one it means because it just told us that it is a Chodesh MIQRA. So we see it's very important that we gather together, assemble together. We're building up the body, and that it is a Chodesh MIQRA. Is it important to do what Yahuwah says as he says it? Let's find out. As we go to Bemidbar 10 and 11. Okay. And it came to be the 12th day of the new moon, the second year, the cloud was taken. Oh, I'm sorry, 2011, sorry. I made a mistake. 20, I was going to say, what in the world? Okay. So let's go a little bit before. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, take the staff, the rod, assemble the congregation at Kodesh MIQRA, you and your brother Aharon, and you shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give its waters, and you shall bring water for them out of the rock and give it to them to drink for the congregation and their livestock. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahuwah as he had commanded him, and Moshe and Aharon assembled the assembly before the rock, and he said to them, hear now, you rebels, shall we bring for you out of this rock water? And Moshe lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and much water came out in the congregation, and the livestock drank. But Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aharon and says, because you did not believe me to set apart in their eyes the children of Yisrael. Therefore, you do not bring the assembly into the land. So he's telling them here, because you did not believe me to set me apart. How did he not set him apart? He said, go speak to the rock. He told them to say to the rock, and that'd be in Yahuwah's name. So he told them to say to the rock, and what did he do? He struck it twice. Therefore, Yahuwah wasn't esteemed, but Moshe and Aharon, because it looked as though it was Moshe doing it. So we see that it's very important for us to do it his way. He has one way, his way. It's his will, his words, and his way. And we can go to Devarim, Deuteronomy 5. What's that? 3 and 4. Hold on. Here we go. So let's take a look. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart as Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you. See this word as? That means in the manner or like. So guard the Sabbath day to set it apart. Keep it Kodesh. In the manner Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you. In other words, he has instructed you how to do it, and he expects you to do it the way he said. Well, how did he say to do it? Well, let's go back to MIQRA, or what we renamed Leviticus 23. And let's start here. 3. All right. 6 days work is done, but the 7th day is a Shabbat of rest, a Shabbat or appointed time of Sabbath, appointed time of Shabbat, of rest or ceasing, a set apart gathering, a Kodesh MIQRA. You do no work in all your dwellings, in all your lands, and all. This is where we get into a lot of trouble, where we don't realize what these words mean, but they mean something. So as we're looking at this, we can understand very quickly and very easily that Yah expects us to do what he says, how he says it. There's no wiggle room. Moshe and Aharon, certainly more Kodesh than we are today, and he didn't let them just do it their way. So he said, I have a certain way I want things done. This is how you are obedient to me. This is how you show your love. So on this day, the Shabbat, MIQRA becomes extremely important. And I want for us to take a look at what that word MIQRA means, because it's amazing. And let's go back into MIQRA and take a look at that word so we get a fuller understanding. Okay, here's MIQRA. That is Mem, Kuf, Resh, Aleph. Okay, we can all see that. And we see it comes from Quora. And it is a kind of a gathering, a reading, a calling together of sacred assembling. So it is a gathering and a reading. So we see it as the gathering for the reading. The reading of what? The reading of the word of Yah, the reading of his Torah. And this is what's wonderful about this Mem, Quof, Resh, Aleph. Let's go take a look at what that means. This is amazing. So, Mem, which also is from Ma'im, is 40. We see 40 days and 40 nights. That we see a new beginning. We see that the old has passed away and that a new beginning came out of this number. We see 40 days that Yahuwah had spent in the desert, that they fasted 40 days, that Moshe was up on Mount Sinai for 40 days. So there is a lot of meaning behind this number. But Mem in Torah means water or Ma'im. It also represents wisdom and understanding from the Ma'im, from the Shamayim, from the heavenly places, from the realms above Yahweh's seat and throne. So it also represents wisdom and understanding of Torah. So we have Mem, Quof, which is the back of the head, or is behind, or what is final, or what is least. Resh, which is a head, a person, what is the highest or most important, or chief. That is self-explanatory. Aleph. the ox, the bull, gentle, tame, the leader, the strength, Yahweh, and to teach, or the teaching. So when we go Mem, Quof, Resh, Aleph, we see the picture that is coming together here for MIQRA. That is that the teaching from Yahweh, the power, the leader, the strength from the living waters of Torah, the understanding and wisdom of Torah that is given from the least to the greatest. So we see the MIQRA, the gathering for the reading, is that the living water from Yahweh, the understanding and wisdom of Torah, is given to both the head and the least. He is no respecter of persons. The wisdom and understanding is for everyone, but everyone cannot receive this if they're not there. If we are not obedient to his word, he says to do it my way and only my way. Aharon and Moshe, and that's just one example. I can go into multiple examples in scripture where he says, as, in the manner in which, like I have. In other words, my way. It's his way. And MIQRA is very important. As you receive from the Father the teaching of Torah, the living water, Yahushua HaMashiach was the living water. He was the embodiment of the Torah that came down from the head to gather together the least to the greatest. There's so much in this word, but we must first gather. Let us gather together for the reading, for the assembling, to build up the body. The MIQRA, from Qara, reading. Let us gather together. Brethren, I implore each and every one of you to not forsake this day, not forsake the gathering of ourselves together. For one, it is breaking a command of Yah's. He has said to do this. It is not a day for us to run around and do what we want, to spend time with just our families and go to our kids' soccer games and our baseball games and football and dance recitals and martial arts and whatever else we might want to do. It's not time for us to just go be alone out in the wilderness, to just contemplate and think and be alone with our dogs and our cats and our whatever else we might be doing that day. It is a day that he has given to us that we are to dedicate to him, to cease from us, to gather for the reading, for the Torah, the teaching from the leader, from Yahweh, of the Torah, the living waters, the understanding and wisdom of Yahweh. You can even say Yahusha here, from the greatest to the least. No respecter of persons. He loves us. And we love you. We thank you for tuning in. And I hope that you dig into this deeper, because this is really a rudimentary teaching. It only brings forth some of what is there. This teaching could be very, very long. But I hope that you got something out of it, that you see the wonders in each and every letter of his words, in each and everything that he instructs us is for our benefit. The wisdom and understanding that he freely gives as he plants the seed, as the seed is planted of his Torah, of his word, is planted within us. It is nurtured and watered by the repetition of hearing of the word, and he gives the increase in understanding. He gives the increase in our wisdom. He gives the increase every day that we gather together for the reading of the word. We love you. We thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks again for coming and tuning into this, and I hope that it has been a berakut to each and every one of you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. If you shall do all that he has said, then you shall be his people, and he shall be your Elohim. Thanks.